I finally get to be one of those YouTubers that announces that they're sick while recording. So guys, I'm sick right now, so if I sound a little off, that's why. But anyways, let's jump into it. I'm not gonna bore you with the generic just do it speech. People say it all the time, and I don't want to be the one in your ear saying it too. I mean, this fear can come from a variety of reasons. You're a perfectionist and you fear failure. Maybe on the flip side, you fear success. That's a very valid fear if you've ever witnessed a beautiful story getting turned to crap because of audience reactions. Some people fear judgment from others. Or another thing, if you just think you're not skilled enough as an artist or writer. This video will address all of that because I've experienced and felt all of this. I'll let you know how I managed it, and since this is an art and writing channel, let me talk about writing, then art. As some of you know, I wrote and am still writing a book called 2152, The Trifold Article. The process of writing this book fascinates me because I barely remember it. But one thing I do remember is how terrified I was to start writing. Like many of you, I had these fun concepts and ideas. I would wake up in the middle of the night typing shit that I thought would be like the best idea ever. Never really writing, but just watching a bunch of writing YouTube channels. Hey, like what you're doing right now, preparing for the eventual chance that I'd write chapter 1. Suppose you haven't heard it before, but you'll hear it plenty of times as a writer. Your first story won't be good. I'm not saying that your concept isn't good. People are really good at ideas and concepts, but shit really hits the fan when it's time to execute it. I don't know about you, but the whole your first story won't be good shit never sat right with my soul. So here's what I did before I started writing. Study the medium. Writing takes many forms, like through comics, poetry, or novels. I read novels. I like them, so I took the time to study them. If you want to write comics, read comics. Consume before you dare start. It eases the worry. I also studied grammar and I studied book formatting. Hell, I even studied book editing. And these weren't just great for my book, it also helped me land a couple of jobs I don't think I would have normally landed. The ease of writing something bad goes away the more you learn. The fear of starting can be the result of not knowing what mistakes you'll make. Once you dedicate some time to learning, the more your confidence grows. But okay, just because someone knows by learning, does that mean they'll be a good writer? No, it doesn't. You need to actually write. So start writing. And when people say start writing, people don't mean the story that's gonna revolutionize and inspire the world. They mean just write anything. It's actually recommended that you don't write your best ideas first. You start by writing your weaker stories and concepts, then build up experience for the good writing. I literally started off writing spicy stories, as embarrassing as it is. Goons don't judge or nitpick. I would write anything and get positive feedback, but that's an example of a low pressure environment. I've also stopped writing those kinds of stories because I think I've got all the practice I needed out of that. But another common route is just writing fan fiction. Normal fan fiction like day in the life stories. I've written a couple of fanfics and those are always low pressure forms of writing. You could also practice by working independently, like fuck a crowd. You could just practice writing stories for yourself. Get a writing prompt and practice there. I'm telling you, the more you write, the better you get, but you can't get better if you don't write. So after all that, after studying grammar and prose and practicing on my own, I wrote the first draft of Trifold in 2022. Was it good then? No. No, it wasn't. It was actually really bad. I remember spending a whole page describing the plants and the trees and the buildings, like every minute detail of the world. It was such a snooze fest, especially for the first couple of pages. I think I rewrote the book like a billion times. Some writers write their books even more than a billion times. Don't think of it as, Rose Maddie, I already wrote it. Why do I have to write it again? No, think of it as part of the process. You refine it with each edit. What's even better is if you write it and then look at it 6 months later. By then, you're not so emotionally attached, you've written other chapters, you could go back and add or remove things. Don't get stuck in this endless editing cycle forever. It's okay to share what you have. Don't labor on it being perfect, cause it'll never be perfect. No story is perfect. If you don't believe me, even Avatar fucks up its story in a major way with energy bending. Oh my god, energy bending, bro. Some people think it ruins the whole story like it's a Deus Machina resolution. It's really bad writing when you think about it longer for 2 seconds, but most people don't care. Many stories have highs and lows. Don't rob yourself of the high just because you're scared of the lows. And if you're wondering how Rose Maddie was able to foreshadow and add symbolism and do all the shit with the world building, it's because I went back and revised it before publishing. Let me emphasize that first. The first version was in 2022. The last real revision was in 2024. I love Google Docs because they'll literally save all the versions you've ever made. The book has undergone just a couple of tweaks here and there, but once it's posted on the website, it's done. I'm not touching it. If it's there, it's there. And don't let this shit like scare you. This is just me like tweaking things here and there. It could be like a word. It's not like I'm literally rewriting the whole book chapter like over and over and over again. It's just tweaks here and there. But going back to like the posting it on the website and not touching it thing, the last thing I need is some kind of Bernstein Beers Mandela effect of me removing and adding stuff. I'll tweak a typo because I make mistakes like that. I'm not super bitch. I can't catch every typo I make. And sometimes someone will catch something for you. Instead of going on a self-hating spiral about being stupid and incompetent, of the worst writer ever or whatever, just take a deep breath, thank the person, and just fix it. We all make fucking mistakes. You're human, you're one person. Allow yourself to fuck up every once in a while. Cause as you can see, I spend a good amount of time revising and things still slip through. It's okay. Now, when it comes to world building as a whole, I'll make that a separate video because I want to be detailed for that. But anyways, let's say you're a decent writer and that's all squared away. What happens when you're not confident in your art? It's no secret, I've said it a million times on this channel. I hate sharing my art, but that's not all. Drawing makes me really happy. I do it all the time, every day, all day. It's the one thing I find fun. So you can see how these two things kind of clash, especially when you have a book that's full of illustrations. For me, writing was the easiest one to handle of the two demons, but I couldn't just not draw, especially since I wanted to illustrate and animate the book. Well, first and foremost, maybe learn the fundamentals. Don't click off! Just hear me. Listen real fast. You may never use any of these skills, but they help you with your overall craft. Just like how we have to refresh with grammar and prose, you can refresh with the basics. But okay, after that, now you have to deal with your own art. I knew my skill level when it comes to drawing humans. It wasn't good. I was scared. Like, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. Like, these earlier rough sheets got the characters looking a bit dusty, a little crusty. I was mainly a background illustrator type person, but you realize how illustrating for a story will push you out of your comfort zone quick. And drawing humans was pushing me out of my comfort zone. These drawings are from 2022. You can see the kind of concept art of the characters that'll actually end up in the book. I'm sure many artists do this before actually doing the real drawings for the story. This is a good part of the process, just trying to figure out what the hell the characters and stories will look like. And this is my comfort zone. Drawing like this is where I feel comfortable, but I had to get out of this. I had to be pushed out of it. How the hell did we go from drawing this style to that style? Obviously, if I drew every page like this, I'd get nowhere. And I think it's so important as an artist to identify if you need a team or not, your limitations, how fast you draw, how slow you draw things. If I drew pages like that, I would need friends, And since I didn't have too many art friends back then, I just needed to choose a style that was a bit faster to draw, but not lazy. And in this video somewhere, I talk about how I got lazy with some of my drawings. Don't confuse simplicity for laziness. People can tell the difference. So here's the rule. You want detailed backgrounds and characters, get a team. And if you don't want a team, think about your capabilities and bandwidth. Cause if you don't, get ready to be drawing chapter 1 for the rest of your life. It's even worse when you're a perfectionist. I think of projects like The Overcoat, which is an animated film that's been in the works since the 1980s. The main issue is this guy won't update his methods and he's a perfectionist. The Thief and the Cobbler is another example of a movie that took forever due to perfectionism. And then Duke Nukem Forever. I'm gonna throw this one in here. It took 15 years, largely because the focus changed multiple times. I think they changed engines like 3 to 4 times. And if you know a little bit about coding, I'm sure you're screaming right now. But yes, this is bad. One of these we'll never see the finished product for, let's be real. And then the next two, although they have been in development for years and they were completed, they were released to mixed and negative reviews.
Why is that? They're taking a long time. The product should be good, right?
But here's why. If you take too long, things become an unfocused mess. If you nitpick over every detail, it won't be good. Sometimes you just gotta draw and let it go. Your art won't be as perfect as you want it to be, but if you keep going, things will improve. If you look at Pizza Pocket versus the last couple of chapters of my book, there are improvements. Every bone in my body tells me I need to make the drawings in chapter 1 look as good as the chapter 12 art, but that's the perfectionism cycle, going back and revising and going back and revising, saying your old art isn't up to speed with your new art. Going back and revising is a good tip for writing, but a shitty one for art. Like, okay, let me clarify. If a page is bugging you, go fix it. But if every page is bugging you because you drew that shit like 3 months ago, no. Stop it. Leave that page alone. This may be a hot take, but I don't think it's a flex to put so much labor into a project without effective time management and high standards of perfection. Your work isn't known for its content. No, instead it's known for being the one project that's taking forever. I acknowledge that my visual novel's art quality is subpar, but I'm proud of my old self for figuring out the style and learning what works and what doesn't work. And also for drawing humans. That was torture for me, but after 3 years, it got easier. I mean, many art styles change over time. It's just part of the process, but you couldn't get here without starting there. I could have never have begun animating something like this. I think this may have been my most complex animation. I couldn't get there if I didn't attempt animating Kathy eating a Pizza Pocket. Man, I remember this Kathy animation was so hard, but it was all part of the process. Your story doesn't get better by revising the old art to match the new art. Your story gets better when you move forward and keep improving as an artist. Your story gets better when you have a tangible, physical story in front of you, but also taking a reasonable time to progress. I'll be working on Trifold for years, maybe even decades, but at the end of the day, people will have access to several hours of reading and about 2,028 unique frames. Yes, I counted them. Don't believe me? Go check my website. But yes, I did this in 2 years because I know my capabilities and limits. But life's a bitch, and I haven't uploaded since February, so at the time of writing this video, that's 8 months. I was looking for jobs, scrambling to pay bills, taking commissions, and Art Fight. Yes, I'm blaming Art Fight too. But as I reel myself back into a new normal, I'll continue to make more pages because I want to see it through to the end. And it doesn't feel like a job because, well, I'll explain in the next section. Motivation is everything. This word could be so generic and overused, but it's the best way to describe it. Why do you want to tell your story? Is it to share an idea, maybe gain recognition? Could it be to connect with others or create a legacy? I think those are all reasonable motivations, but I think there's one motivation that triumphs over any other motivation. This one motivation will keep you going. no matter what. You need to create the story for yourself. That should be your first goal. First and foremost, the whole malarkey of being scared to start goes away the moment you create for the enjoyment of being creative. When you do that, you're not worried about it being perfect, or if someone makes a rude comment, or about some theoretical fandom ruining your day. You're focused on yourself, improving your craft, and having fun along the way. Was that a bar? No, that was no bar. Because at the end of the day, that's your ass spending hours, weeks, months, years creating that story. Why make it a miserable experience chasing money and clout? Once money and clout gets tangled up in a project, that's when things stop being fun. That's when deadlines arise and people's opinions start to overtake. Your autonomy is gone, and I've seen plenty of artists lose their core over money and clout. When you start writing and drawing when no one's watching, that should be the fun part. I did the first 1,000 or so frames when no one was reading the story. I did it because it's fun for me. It's a time to relax and draw my goofballs in dramatic situations. And let's say you do get to that point of your journey where your family finds out about your story and starts asking a billion questions, or Poindexter comes and points out an inconsistency, or your fans complain about it being 1 month, 2 weeks, and 5 minutes late for an upload. I want you not to fear. Just reframe it. They're not asking a billion questions, they're just curious. They aren't pointing out the inconsistencies. They just really care about the deep lore of your story. They aren't complaining about the long upload. They want to see the next upload because they like it. And if you can't find a way to reframe something, remember your core value. You're making this story for yourself first. Do it because it's fun, because it's something you want to do. That fact will drown out all the other noise. Right now, I'm in that part of my journey where people are reading, but they aren't criticizing. Like, I think the only criticism I ever get is like a typo or a misspelled word, because that's the kind of fuck up I always do, is just a typo or just misspelling shit. But like, no one's making like any real harsh comments. But I do know that when someone finally comments that 2152 the Trifold article is the worst thing they've ever fucking read, I'll probably cry low-key. Like, low-key I will cry. But then I'll remember the fun I had making it, and that alone should quiet that voice telling me that it needs to be perfect. Have you ever made your story public? Is it a story that I could read? If not, I need to know why. Maybe I can help in the comments by explaining something that I missed. A lot of you guys give me like summaries of your stories, but like, where's the tangible thing? Can I please read? Like, some of your stories are like so fucking interesting. I'm like, can I read it? Just let me know if I can help somehow. But for now, guys, I think that's it. That's the video. If you're interested, check out my book 2152 the Trifold article. It's both animated and illustrated sci-fi adventure. Check it out if you're curious about 2 years of work. Is it 2 or 3? We don't count 2025 because I barely touched it, but 2 years of work and the results that led up to it. You can be mean, but like not too mean, okay? Okay, I'm still a crybaby. Anyways, that will be linked below as well as the newsletter. Make sure to check out the additional links below and see if there's anything that interests you. Like and subscribe and whatever, that is much appreciated. Have fun while creating today, and I'll see you guys later!